Hey, you guys, if you are looking to find referrals for contractors, handymen, things like that, let me give you 4 tips of how to find them. So, when it comes to finding contracts, keep in mind that, it's going to depend. Are you doing a flip? Is this for a rental? Is this for your primary? Is this for new construction? I would approach all 4 of those a little bit different. And so you want to be very mindful of, who you are seeking out. So the first tip that I'm going to give you is that if you're looking for contractors, again, whichever strategy it may be for, one of the biggest things a lot of people say, Courtney, I don't know who to go with. There's too many people to choose from. I don't know who's good, who's bad, all of those things. Well, let me give you some ideas of where you can start to find these folks. Okay. So the first idea I'm going to give you is find your local trade show for home and garden or home improvement. So I was literally just at the trade show here in New Orleans today. And today it's called the Home and Garden Show. It happens once a year in New Orleans. Today it was in the Superdome. It's a 3-day event, and it's literally a trade show. So, consumers can pay, I think it's like $8 or $15 at the door, and you can go up and down the aisles. And there was a few hundred vendors, like I think 200 plus vendors, and you had a lot of multiple contractors, multiple roofers, multiple, different types of companies. And a lot of them had demonstrations at their booth. And so one thing that you can learn is if they're in a trade show, number one, they have advertising dollars, right? Number two, there's a level that they are, they're reputable to a degree. You still need to make sure that they are properly licensed and insured and all that. But that is something that you can, look into, and you can use those as a starting point. Oftentimes, the folks who are spending a lot of marketing dollars, they may not be the cheapest out there. So keep that in mind, right? Because these are folks who are building a legitimate business. And so, but this is one way that you can go. You can meet them in person. You can see, what demonstration are they putting on? All of those things are important. So the second tip, if you're looking, you're like, hey, how can I find contractors or handymen? So then you may have heard this tip before. I do think it's a solid one. 6 a.m. Head to your local Home Depot or your Lowe's. I prefer Home Depot. Head there, and you want to be mindful because these guys may be doing, getting ready for a job, picking up supplies, but go look in that parking lot. You might see magnets on the side of vehicles. You might see, there's generally going to be a lot of work trucks, right? And now you don't want to go and bug people again if they've got to get ready and head to a job. But you could just be something as simple. If you need to get a plumbing job, go in the plumbing section and say, hey, do you have a business card? Hey, are you a plumber? Hey, what type of work do you do? Now, that is not going to tell you if they do good work or not. That will just tell you if they're busy. Okay. So now here is an additional pro tip on that thought. You can go to the pro desk and say, hey, look, I'm not asking you to pick favorites or anything like that. But who has been one of your, let's just say if you were to use a handyman, or if you were to use a general contractor, that pro desk, they're the ones who handle the bigger, accounts and things like that. That would be one of the first questions I would ask. Hey, in the event that you needed something done on your house, who would you hire? All right, so tip number 2 is to go physically to a Home Depot, right? And either solicit, in the sense of, see who's there and talk to the people who are actually buying supplies, or you go to the pro desk and ask them. So my third tip is somewhat similar, still at the Home Depot. Did you know that Home Depot you can actually get, for example, an AC install, or like fencing done, or remodel done, flooring installed, like stuff like that. And generally what Home Depot does, and I believe Lowe's does the same, is that you basically are going through the store, but they hire local subcontractors. And so if that's the case, you can go through and say, I just want to get an estimate. And a lot of times they're out there, and you may find out their company name. Well, the question is, how much is there an upcharge by going through Home Depot? So that is something you may want to look at. So say, for example, ABC fencing is doing a quote through Home Depot. Well, okay, ABC fencing, let me reach out to you directly. And does that quote change if we're not going through Home Depot? I do not know if they have any limitations, like basically if the customer came through Home Depot that they can't no longer do the job solo if it, started through that. I can't speak to any of that, but it's something to keep in mind. All right, the fourth tip is look up your local home builders association and look in their membership directory. And this is where you can find builders, contractors. You most likely will not find handymen on here. Okay, so this is something where, especially if you're looking for new construction or if you're doing a major renovation. Now, I'm going to give you an additional bonus. If you want to find handymen, this is one of the benefits. A lot of property managers have handymen that they use, or real estate agents will have handymen that they use to tackle small jobs. They have a listing or they have a property they're managing for rent and it needs, the toilet fixed, this door fixed, change out the locks here, go do the small jobs that's hard to get contractors to do. For handymen, I have them handle a lot of my small stuff. And so property managers and real estate agents often have a good handyman on standby. Now, if it is their dad, if it is their husband, and they don't do this, for anyone other than that spouse, that's generally a no-go for me. So I am going to look though for someone who, generally property managers who manage, a decent amount of rentals, they'll have multiple handymen they use. Because hey, if one's busy, they need the other, or hey, he's working on this one, I need someone to get on this one right away. Anyway, those are my tips today, guys. One video a day for the first 100 dates. We're starting to get to the final stretch here. I hope you guys have been enjoying this series and this challenge. I know it has challenged me to get off my butt and every day give you something valuable. But guys, these are some ways to find contractors. I'll be honest, they're not all created equal. There are plenty of contractors, plenty of handymen that I have used for years or for plenty of jobs that eventually, their quality slipped. And so you've got to stay on top of that. You can always ask around for referrals, from people who are currently in the business. Who do they use? So with that being said, guys, have a good one. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and appreciate y'all always for tuning in.